You're listening to Unclogging the Truth, your podcast for the ins and outs of the blue-collar industry of plumbing and the tea behind the scenes.
Well, thank you, Gabe. I believe you're supposed to read the intro or whatever you're doing.
No. Okay, so today is a very special day. Not only is this our Valentine's episode, so to speak, but it is also the birthday of our very own master plumber, Johnny Bell. Happy birthday, Johnny.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Nicole.
All right, so...
And it's just us 2 year anniversary of the company.
Is it?
Valentine's Day is.
You didn't say that the other day. That's not... Okay, 2 years and...
2 years.
Yeah, does it feel like 2 years? Or does it feel longer than 2 years? Does it feel
my gosh, Dakota.
It feels longer than 2 years, yes.
It feels like it's been a lifetime because of all the things that's happened with the company since its origins. We've changed a lot and evolved a lot.
That's a good point, because in light of recent changes in the company and like your personal life, like you just got married, congratulations.
Well, thank you for that. And I love her very much, Kristen, if you're watching.
I love Kristen.
I do too.
I've never met her, but I look forward to meeting her. But I've heard wonderful things about
her.
Tater tot casserole.
Tater tot casserole
is the bomb. Okay, I had like 2 helpings. I'm gonna go back for 3rd.
She talks about Thanksgiving all the time, about how she made all these dishes and all that stuff and brought it down here. And she said, "What do you think they'd like? What would you like?" Tater tot casserole. And she was like, "What kind of cake do you want?" I said, "Tater tot casserole." And so she brought it.
Everybody skipped the ham, the turkey, the green bean casserole.
Really?
Everybody annihilated it.
Is that what she's known for? Like, she's known for that? Is that her specialty?
Well, since I've met her, like as soon as I had it.
Is that the dish she got you with?
Yeah, well, that one, and she makes a couple other ones too. She makes a good chicken casserole and a good, I don't know, like a cabbage thing.
Well, we could talk about food all day.
Yes, we sure can.
But what we wanted to do, Johnny, we wanted to get like kind of an in-depth conversation about what drove you to become a plumber and, the truth and, behind how NA Plumbing was started. So,
yeah, the truth of all of it about me becoming a plumber is my grandfather, Wayne Fogg, owned a heavy equipment business. And I would spend summers working with him, hanging out, like playing around on his heavy equipment. And then when I got into high school, I actually went to work with him full time and started operating.
Oh.
And I dreamed back then of taking over my grandfather's company. But he was ready to retire, and I was just like 18 years old. And then it got to where a couple of jobs were shut down. And there's a company here in town that he used to do a lot of the digging for. We didn't do any work for plumbers anymore. He quit doing work for plumbers because all plumbers now own their own heavy equipment. And he actually told me that. He said, "You ought to go work for a plumbing company until things pick back up over here because plumbers make a lot of money." Like I used to do a lot of work for them, but now they all own their own equipment. And so I went over and got a job, and then he retired. and then I actually didn't like the first group of people that I worked with. There's a lot of...
hope they don't see this.
Well, I don't care if they do. Like some of the first guys that I worked with, I mean, they were... there's a lot of people in our trade that really, I don't know, they're mean people. I mean, I'm sorry, but like there's a lot of miserable people that just enjoy making other people's lives miserable. Misery loves company. So I kind of decided I didn't want to do this, and I went to school for engineering.
Did you?
Yeah. I actually got my engineering degree from, I didn't
know that, Johnny.
And then...
I know so much about you.
Yeah, really? Well, I didn't finish at UAH. I met my first wife there at Calhoun, and I ended up just taking a year off and decided that after trying to get in with some engineering companies, I really didn't want to sit in a cubicle all day.
Wear a suit. I can
back.
I'm trying to imagine you like in a suit going to work with a tie and everything. I can't picture it.
Well, and then I had gotten to where like I worked around a guy named Dennis Russo, who is still in, he owns his own business now, and his brother Roger works for him, and Roger's the one that sort of got me in with the very first company we all worked for, and Dennis Russo taught me how to be a service plumber, and it really it kind of changed the game for me a lot, getting away, and now Dennis is a lot, and he's mean to a lot of people.
No,
I'm serious.
I mean, does he know that you think he's mean?
No, I'm saying he's mean to a lot of people, but I mean, man,
But he was nice to you.
He kind of took me underneath his wing, saw something in me, and yeah, like poured himself into me.
You
So
seem to have like had at an early age, like you said like 18 or something. I had no clue what I wanted. I still don't know what I want to do.
I
I'm not
never
saying.
planned. I didn't grow up wanting to be a plumber.
But
Like
you knew like you wanted to take over the business and stuff. Like you had that insight to be like, this is what I want to do.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The first time I ever got on one of my grandfather's backhoes and really started to operate it. Like now, my grandfather would tell you, you're not a backhoe driver. That's what
You're not
everybody
a
always says
hoe
at the very beginning of it. But when I was a kid, we used to drive it like around the pastures and stuff. We actually played a thing we
What
call
is a
backhoe
backhoe?
chicken.
What is a backhoe?
Well, it's got a bucket on the front
Okay.
and there's a hole in the back.
That's
But no, it's
what she said.
I'm telling you, no. The hoe is like the claw. That's what they call it.
Oh, okay.
So
I
like
know
we
what
have
you mean.
excavators and stuff, like mini excavators is what we use mainly in plumbing. But my grandfather
I'm
called
trying
them
to imagine
tracos.
these,
They're-
like, I know we had the excavator,
yeah.
Mhm.
so I know that
Yeah.
one, but I'm like, I didn't know what a backhoe was.
Well, the first time I ever really got on it and started to operate it, I can remember the hoe, the boom, whatever you want to call it, on the back is strong enough to dig into the earth. You've seen that. But if you push down on the earth, it'll pick the machine up. So you can move around and do different things. And it sort of was like being on an amusement park ride. And when I was younger, I thought this is amazing and like the power of it. And it really took
It
to
sounds
it.
like every boy's dream, like get on a little machine and start digging
Yeah.
in the dirt.
So it was for me. And then, yeah, I ended up going to work for that first company. I was there for around 9 years. Then there was, it happens in plumbing, it happens in business. There's a lot of layoffs. I made it for a long time. And then their plumbing side had gotten down to where it was just me and one other guy. And I actually did a lot of, I even did mechanical jobs. I've fabricated sheet metal, did jobs like that for them, trying to
It's
just keep,
multi-talented.
well, I had a family to support. So
That's true.
I would go over and work with the HVAC guys. And then eventually I got laid off from there, and I was hired the next day by a company that exclusively did work for Huntsville Hospital. And then I had an office inside Huntsville Hospital for 6 years. I ended up leaving there, I got a little stir crazy, I guess, and went to work for a company that did plumbing and remodeling of homes. So I could learn a little more. That's where it got to where I put in like floors and did actually cut ridge vents and on the tops of houses. Again, I was hired there to be their plumber, but then I was able to do things like crown molding and a lot of that.
At what point did you was like, I'm just ready to be on my own? Like I just need to branch out.
That was a chance encounter, and it was after like COVID-19 when it made landfall here. The world actually shut down, and when the world shut down, for me, we didn't have childcare because grandparents were worried about. Basically, they were worried my kids would kill them.
Yeah, they're like that
They would
age group.
They would kill them.
My parents were the same way.
Like,
We had to go visit them, and they like stand at the end of the driveway and wave to your grandparents because they don't want to see you.
Because kids could have it and not even be affected by it and be a carrier, and then somebody who's 60 years old could get it and die from it at the very beginning of all of that. So I was essential personnel. My first wife was essential personnel, and we ended up like switching shifts to where I ended up working at night, catching calls, and worked with our customers on that and on weekends. And then I was a third grade teacher and a kindergarten teacher by day.
What?
Well, yeah, my kids had to be.
You're talking about for your kids.
Yeah, well, it's called e-learning, but I mean,
yeah.
the kids, you try to get like a kindergartner and a third grade, both of them are boys, to sit down and like watch a video and then take a test. Like I had to like find YouTube videos to
I'm
teach
so
them
glad
about
my
all
kids at that time, they were like in middle school. They were like old enough to, and all I did was give them their little packet of stuff and hey, do your work. And luckily they're smarter than me, so I didn't really have to help them a lot. But yeah, I can imagine having a kindergartner and like trying to teach them how to read. Like you're gonna be set up for failure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then I mean, after all of that, like I don't know, COVID was rough on a lot of people, and it was rough on a lot of marriages. And I ended up, after COVID, was that once the vaccine came out and schools were opened back up, my wife then of 11 years said she wanted a divorce. I had a chance encounter with a neighbor of mine at at a corner store. I was telling him about it. He owned a staffing company, and I had insurance through her. The place I was working didn't have insurance, and I asked him if he could place me somewhere like Mazda, Toyota, or maybe Coca-Cola,
So
somewhere
you
to get
went there like
insurance.
actually like looking for a job.
I was I had talked to
Oh,
him just at the store, and he said, "Well, why don't you start your own company?" Because I had done work for him, working for another company before. I'd kind of gotten him to be a customer of a previous company I'd worked at, and he said, "Why don't you just start your own company, like, and then get your own insurance?" And of course, that sounded very easy to him, but not very easy to me. I said, I don't have the money to do it, and I don't know how to do it. He's like, "Oh, well, don't worry about it. I got money, and I know how to do it. Like, go get your master's license if you can take the test, and we'll start a business. You can be 75% owner, and I'll do 25, and just be the little guy on the backside." And of course, that sounded like a great deal, and I went into business, and then I ended up working more than I've ever worked in my life over the past couple of years. But it's been worthwhile building the company and meeting you guys.
Like 2 years now? Is it?
It's actually going on 3.
3?
June will be 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Long time in business.
And Trista came in within the first year. Dakota came in within the first year.
I didn't realize Dakota had been here that long.
I think Dakota was the first to come in.
Yeah, Dakota was the first that came in just after Christmas in 2021.
Okay, so Trista, what is your role in the company?
Oh gosh, whoever I need to be that day is my role in the company.
She's the head cat herder.
Right.
Therapist,
She's
counselor,
the mommy.
babysitter.
Feels like a
the right hand
adult daycare sometimes with the fellas. No, they're a good group of guys, but we reel them in from time to time.
No, you have to. I actually
a great group of guys.
I tell people I hired Trista to tell me what to do because I had spent my entire
Smart
career.
Man.
Well, I spent my entire career up to that point, like 17 and a half years or so, as a plumber, but I'd always been in the field. I never had to take calls, do scheduling, handle like the office side of it. And then I quickly realized the guy that had told me he knew how to do all this stuff didn't know how to be inside of a plumbing office either.
Oh, yeah.
And then we ended up having a couple of guys working for us. And then I heard through the kind of the plumbing grapevine that Trista actually had told one of them that if I was looking for somebody to be an office admin, that she would be interested in working for me. And I'm like, holy cow, I got her number. I've actually done work for her before. I pulled her up in the system and I sent her a text saying, because I was looking for somebody to be inside of the office.
I thought it was a scam.
And she thought it was a scam. She thought it was like a setup or something.
Who is this?
Yeah. Well, because at that time, like, my business partner had me driving around this little Audi. And I'm like, man, my friends are going to make fun of me if they see me in this little freaking Audi car. I mean, it's nice on the inside, like all this GPS and all these bells and whistles. But
little fancy stuff.
I'm like, dude, no. It's like this tiny little car. And I'm riding around in it. So I told her, I was like, dude, I'll give you an Audi if you come work for us.
Imagine getting a text like that with a job offer.
Yeah.
There's no
when
way.
do I start?
Yeah, like, let me get out.
You want me to come today? When do I start? That's great. And then I came along, like a year ago?
So we can kind of flip the roles here. So you entered in through the business partner.
Yeah.
And what do you do, Nicole?
Everything. I am whatever Trista needs me to be. Whatever Trista can't get to and she needs me to do. But I do the marketing, kind of like customer service and all that good stuff. PR, whatever. So I'm just like whatever they need. So I just like the environment here. It's a good family environment. I think people would be surprised to know that about plumbing.
Yes.
I think that's the one thing. It surprised me. Like, I wasn't expecting, I won't even lie. I wasn't expecting it to be like this family environment. Like, we all get along. We can talk about anything and, depend on each other. So I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that about a plumbing company. And I think that's one of the reasons we wanted to, highlight and start the podcast. just to, let the public know about the inside, what goes on the inside. You'd be surprised the conversations. You're in close quarters with people, like sometimes you're out in the field, you're under house with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Trista
will get
what
up
do we have to
there
talk
too.
about? You've been under the house?
Yeah, she does.
I want to see a picture.
Okay.
No, there are
pictures.
There are, and it was right after. And then she made a TikTok video in the back parking lot. It was at a historic house downtown that they were turning into like a 4-way hotel or something.
Wow!
And we were up underneath the house. So the guys were. I'd come out to get something. Trista showed up and was like, "Where are the guys at?" I said, "Oh, they're underneath in the crawl space." And she was like, "Oh," and just went right in there in full office gear, heeled boots, I think, and just went right up underneath there. It was covered in dirt and soot and everything else when she was underneath there. I crawled up underneath there and took some pictures of it.
Oh yeah, I got to see that.
And it was a cool experience. I think for me, watching them work as a team, and just trying to have to figure things out. It's almost like a giant game of Connect. There's toys that you have to connect. I'm just seeing them all work together, kind of watching, Johnny lead, the way that he teaches. It's not it's like tough love.
Mm-hmm.
He teaches
he's like one of those dads trying to teach you to swim, and then he just throws you in the water and it's like, hey.
For 2 seconds, and he jumps in to kind of help you back up.
He's like, all right, you got it. All right, you got the gist of it. All right, I'm gonna help you out.
Well, honestly, for me, that's actually true. Completely, it is really true, and there's a reason for it, because when I first was learning, and now it doesn't bother me very much, but when I first was really learning how to do plumbing and learning to do things on my own,
you had to do it.
Well, you had to do it, and actually if somebody was there, an authority figure, it would make you nervous, where you would mess up, you wouldn't do things, or actually you might just end up talking with them. That's one of the reasons why I don't try to be on the guys' job sites unless they actually need me, because they can handle, they're more capable than they realize they are. And then if they mess something up, I can go in there and help them fix it.
So everybody has their way. Is there, I don't know about plumbing, so I'm learning. So is there a specific way to do things, or everybody has their own way of doing things, but as long as you fix it, or? Well,
there's codes and there's regulations that you have to follow and go by. But, plumbing is an art, and it's kind of up to the artist. One plumber may do it a certain way.
Well, it's a quote. We're going to make that a quote.
Well, it is. It's a skilled profession. And so, I might, I don't even like to make a material list. This morning I was making a material list for Dakota, and because he asked me to now. And I love Dakota to death, and I did it for him. And it's just a little simple thing. But, honestly, in his head, he's a plumber in his own right. Mm-hmm. So he could go out there and really have thought of a better way of doing it than I had even planned. So this morning, he asked me to do it, and I did it for him. But one of the things that really recruited me into the company with my business partner that now we've split, but he told me at one point, don't ever put yourself into a box. Don't have yourself into a box.
Be able to branch out.
Don't just be one thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people end up shrinking down. And when in Trista's interview, I told her that too. Hang out with us, and there will be no box. I was actually regurgitating what he had said when he recruited me. But with the guys, if I'm the boss, I am, but I just see myself as one of the guys, and Trista will tell you that. But I don't see myself the way that they see me. So if I go out and I tell them, do this and this and this, they're going to, those that don't know me, like Dakota does and Trista does and you do, will really, just get tunnel vision because, Johnny said to do this.
Yeah.
I have to do this, this, and this exactly this way and all that because they got PTSD from working for other people who basically there's some mean people in plumbing. They love to call people morons and idiots and they break them down. So a lot of the guys will come over here. Kevin says that. Kevin says he feels like he has PTSD just from past places he's worked, and he actually talks with the newer guys. He's like, look, you don't have to worry about that stuff.
With Johnny.
Johnny ain't that
I
way.
remember earlier when I first met you or first knew that you were the owner, they were saying like you had this concept that you wanted your business to be different and that you didn't want people to feel like they had to do it the exact same way. So it's kind of like they're entrepreneurs within the business. So they're kind of like you said, a plumber in their own right, but they have your company as support. And I think that is why people like coming to work here, you know, because you don't feel like you just have to do it one way, that you have the, not permission, but you know, you can do it, the freedom, to do it the way that you want to do is you know. So.
And at the end of the day, they are a representation of me, of NAP. Right. So they have to, I do hold them accountable, and I want them to have a certain quality of craftsmanship. Right. And there have been, like, since the company started, there have been some things where I had to go out and make it right. And I always tell my customers, like, look, you hired the company. You didn't hire my employee. Like, I mean, and honestly, I don't mean that, and I don't throw them underneath the bus or anything. Yeah. I'm like, hey, because we've had some that have kind of messed up some things that came in for just a little while and then they're gone. Yeah. And I have to go, I call it haunting me from beyond the job. I cut up and say, I wish I could hire them back to fire them because I didn't realize they were doing all this stuff. But then I make it all right, and, you know, we move on. And it's funny to me how some of the guys have actually reached out to you and complained about me.
She's like the mama. Like, they're like, we're telling on dad, calling mama, this is what daddy did.
Mm-hmm. I remember the guy that he went at the other company, they nicknamed him Eeyore, like off of Winnie the Pooh. You said he sounded like Vin Diesel when he talked.
Oh, that guy. I thought he did sound like
He talked real
Well, now that you say Eeyore, now it does sound like that too.
Know
I can hear
what
that.
I'm saying?
No.
But he had a recall, all right? Which a recall, if you don't know, is where the job wasn't completed properly. Mm. So then it's free. The guys, and if the guys are on a commission base, they have to go out there and make it right for free. Oh, and that means they're not making any money on that. But he wanted to talk to me and explain to me why and all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, dude, just go fix it. And then, man, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and he tried to call me back like 3 other times, and I didn't answer the phone. And he reached out to Trista and was like, you did? Yeah. And I mean, my phone's on since at 9 o'clock at night. So he was all mad about me not calling him back, but I was really like just in bed. I didn't hear the phone ring. And man, we had like 2 or 3 different like team meetings over like breakfast and lunch and stuff about how I made him feel bad. It's a lot of
drama and plumbing. You'd be surprised.
And I was like, all I did was tell him to go back out and fix the job that he should have done right the first time. Like, and then that was when another guy, he nicknamed it Mean Johnny because he was laughing about how much of a big deal was made out of this. He was like, yeah, Mean Johnny, mean.
When I hear Mean Johnny, I already know there's going to be a call or a text coming. I'm like, Johnny, what did you do? What's going on? but there is. That's a good point. There's a lot of moving parts to it. There's like, you know, the side of there's going to be mistakes. Yeah. There's a side of just doing the job. Then there's like the inside. There can be like conflict, not like necessarily within the office, but like, you know, between like one of the guys gets upset with Johnny or and then there's the whole customer service side. Like, there's a lot to it. But I think you handle it really well overall.
Well, at the end of the day, we're here to earn a living, and we're here providing a service doing that, a very valuable service. And if the guys aren't holding themselves to the standard that I expect them to, then, you know, I have to tell them that I expect more out of them.
I have been very impressed with, since, you know, we've actually branched off and become our own. How you been handling things? Yes. I'm like, okay, Johnny,
it's humbling to me that you've come back like the way it was before the split. There was a lot of people that had been run off. Like, yeah, Kevin was run off there for a while, and then Nicole as well. And the fact that like as soon as word got out that like I'm on my own.
On your own. It's like, okay.
I mean, from the trash pandas.
Trista said, she was like, we're not with him anymore. You can come back.
I know, she even like ignored me. Like, she was like, no, you're with my calls or text messages.
And just to be clear, it was just the environment. We're not going to get into specifics about the company, but, you know, when you work with people, you want to be in an environment that is nurturing and that, you know, is caring, and that you feel like you can do like a work-life balance, and you're not scared to call or go to the doctor because your kid is sick or something, you know. And when you are in an environment like that, it's not a good feeling. So At the time, last year I was going through a lot of things. That was just one thing I didn't need, So I said, you know what, I'll just cut my ties and take my chances. And then a few months later, Tristan was calling. I was like, I don't know. So she had to let me know, like, no, we have a new location. We're here. So I came back.
And Johnny's going at it alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really is like super humbling for me because it was scary to go on our own. It was scary to kind of make the split, but then to see people coming back and to see like vendors actually coming back and like how I felt like maybe I was making the wrong decision, and it seemed like as soon as I made this decision, everybody's like, "Oh my God, finally!"
Yeah,
like yeah, and that's because I really don't see myself the way that y'all see me, and I'm only in this like going on 3 years, and it's been a lot to try to grow into, and I still just see myself as a field guy. And then when I start hearing y'all talk about how you see me, it's really humbling, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me a second chance to come back and just embracing. And now we're off. We're just rocking and rolling. Expecting good things. So
Johnny, I've told you this before, but like I think one thing that sets you apart is like you look at all of your employees as like individuals and like people. Like we've got lives, we've got kids, we have husbands and girlfriends, and we have life stuff that happens, and you've kind of made yourself be, they always say like, be the boss that you'd want to work for, and you've like nailed that. So I do hope one day you see that about yourself.
I want to. I've worked for a lot of places where I felt like I was underappreciated. And I didn't want to be that way here. I didn't want to run a company that way here. I don't know how to do any of that. Like if I value somebody, I want them to know that I value them. And with the guys, like I feel like there's two different ways to lead. There's a lot of people that lead with fear and intimidation, and they want to like break people down to where they don't feel confident in themselves anymore, and always like look to the other person to tell you what to do. And I don't know how to lead that way, and it sounds like it would be exhausting. Like if I was constantly having to tell everybody every little thing to do because they're so scared to do anything on their own that they're looking to me. Instead, like all I know how to do is tell people what I see in them and try to build them up to be like more than they thought that they could be, and encourage them to be. Like you can do this. Like just go in there. Like you never had to learn how to swim unless you jump in the water. I mean, seriously.
Well, there's ways. There's swim lessons. You don't just have to throw people.
And but then when it comes down to if somebody is not like living up to our standards, if somebody's not coming to work, if I think that there is some kind of addiction problem or something like that, at the end of the day, we're running a company. And yes, I am thinking about that person's family, but I'm also thinking about like this is one person that is like messing up our brand, and it's messing with my family, Trista's family, all the other guys' families who are out there doing their job, and that's when it's like they call it Mean Johnny, but I'm like actually really direct with them.
Yeah, I will say though that you give lots of chances. You have, you'll bring people in and talk to them like, this is what I need you to fix. You give chances to do this. So it's not like you just see somebody doing something and you just fire them. So I really feel like you try to take into consideration that everybody has things going on. You want to work with everyone, but at some point it has to be, you're the boss. You have to make the ultimate decision. So what can we let people know they can expect from Unclogging the Truth going in our first season?
Well, I know this one was all about it seemed like y'all made it about me. I didn't know
it
what it was going to be.
It's your birthday.
I know. I didn't expect
this whole day's about you.
It's your day.
But no, I mean we can just talk about a lot of different situations that have come up like throughout the 2.5 years. Different people we've met, different situations we found ourselves in.
The ins and outs of plumbing, the good, the bad, the ugly, the stinky.
Like some of the pictures that y'all send, I'm like, what in the world? I wouldn't be out there. And like sometimes when y'all send like pictures of jobs y'all on, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, that's one of the things I taught the guys to do too. Is like all of them. learn to be photographers. Like, take pictures of what you're doing in a crawl space.
Yeah.
Take pictures of those corn kernels that are like rolling out and stuff. Yeah.
Thanks, Johnny.
Get those little
that I already
golden
ate.
nuggets because they help sell
I
the
already
job.
ate.
Like, well, you're only underneath there for like 2 hours. Like, if you're in a crawl space and you're down there and you have an opportunity to take a picture of the fact that like you're in like coveralls and you're doing your best to stay dry because of this, we call it black water, which means it's like been in there with the doo-doo and the corn and the, I don't know why corn pops back
you're
up.
like in that? You're
But
like
yeah,
standing in
Oh,
that?
oh yeah, and that'll be for another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what is to come. Like, tune back in with us, and
If you
feel
like
free-
real stuff.
yeah, feel free to like ask us questions,
Send
like
in
write in
questions.
questions, and I mean I can like help troubleshoot things. We can talk about like technical stuff like that's gone on, like different hard problems, or also just funny stories and things that we've gone through.
And in case we have another little hard freeze like we did this last time
Yes.
that we weren't expecting.
If you guys would like suggestions.
Suggestions like how to prevent that from happening. So email us at info@naplumbing.net.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
All right. Well, Johnny, I hope you have a great rest of your happy birthday.
Yes, happy
Well, thank
birthday.
you guys. I appreciate this.
All right.
And shout out to Gabe over
Shout
here.
out to Gabe.
Our producer.
Guy in the Share Productions.
The Gabester.
Behind the
Gabe.
scenes, making sure we look good.
The G-Man.
The G-Man.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time for some more Unclogging the Truth.
See y'all.
Bye.